I was standing in the middle of my field, just trying to get a little peace and quiet on the ranch, when everything shattered. There was this crack louder than thunder followed by a screeching roar that sounded like it came straight out of some horror movie. I swear the ground shook beneath me, and birds scattered out of the sky like something had scared the life right out of them. And then, right in front of me, where my old sugar pine had stood for over 100 years, where it had stood since my grandfather planted, I saw nothing. Nothing but a mangled wreck of a white Tesla Model X, its hood crumpled like a soda can, its windshield shattered like ice. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't speak. The tree, my tree, the one my granddad planted with his bare hands, gone. Cut down. Murdered. And standing there, yelling at me like I'd done something wrong, was Karen. Yeah, our HOA president. Karen Mulrin. She was screaming at me, waving her folder like a weapon, telling me she was going to sue me for the damage to her car. Her car, the one that had been parked right beneath the tree she ordered to be chopped down. The same tree I'd warned her not to touch. I stared at her, my mouth dry, my fists clenched. And that's when I saw it behind the folder she was waving. There was a chainsaw rental receipt with my name forged on it. But let me take you back. This didn't start with chainsaws or a crushed Tesla. No, this started with something much smaller. A cup of lemonade. It was a perfect summer day. Early June. The sun was shining like it had been kissed by God himself, and the air smelled like fresh-cut grass and the lake down by the creek. My dog, Rusty, was lying under the porch fan, tail wagging like he knew life was good. I was out painting the west fence when I saw her. Karen. She was standing by her mailbox, looking like she stepped out of a gardening magazine, wearing this sun hat that practically covered half her face, and sunglasses so big they could have been a part of her. From where I was, I could already feel her judging me, like she was already figuring out how to tell me I was doing something wrong, even if I wasn't. She'd moved into the neighborhood a couple of years ago, buying up one of those fancy properties on the edge of the ranching zone across the creek. HOA had never been a big deal, no one really cared. Then Karen showed up, and suddenly, everything mattered. Lawns had to be exactly 3.5 inches tall. Mailboxes had to look a certain way. People got fines for leaving their RVs out for an extra day. And me? Well, I was her first target. I tried to be nice. I brought her a glass of lemonade one afternoon, told her about the sugar pine, how it wasn't just a tree, it was a memory. It was a piece of my family's history. My granddad used to sit under it after long rides and say, "The strongest things grow slow, just like people." But she didn't care about any of that. She called it cute, and then went on to call it a hazard. And that was the first time she brought up cutting it down. She said it was overgrown, on the property line, and technically under the HOA's control because it could be a liability. I laughed, thinking she was joking. But she wasn't. Over the next few months, the complaints started rolling in. A notice about my wildflowers growing too close to the creek. A complaint about the smell during compost season. Then came the survey. The HOA had paid for a land survey. Karen was the one who ordered it, and the new property markers magically placed my tree barely inside the buffer zone, the area considered shared between properties. Technically, the HOA had a right to it. I fought it. I went to meetings. My neighbors, especially Mr. Bennington, who'd been living here for 40 years, all backed me up. But Karen didn't back down. She had the rules on her side, and people got tired. So, I did the only thing I could think of. I posted a sign on the tree. I wrapped it in yellow caution tape and sent an official letter to the HOA saying I didn't give permission for any work to be done. But that didn't stop her. Things started getting weird. Trash started showing up near the fence. A dead squirrel by the barn. Motion sensors on the property were smashed. And Rusty, he barked at shadows every night. Then one morning, I saw a white truck no platestry vying out of my back driveway. I chased it, but by the time I got close, it was gone. I checked the tree, though. It was still standing. The next day, everything changed. I went to town for feed, only to come back to the road blocked by fire trucks, police cars, and a crowd of neighbors whispering. And then I saw it. The tree, my sugar pine, was gone. The Tesla was in a wreck, and Karen was yelling at me, claiming I was responsible for her car. I stared at the scene, my heart sinking. "You cut it down," I said to her. And that's when I saw the receipt. She was VYNGMY name. My signature only, I had never signed it. Something wasn't right. I stayed up that night, sitting by the stump of the tree, Rusty by my side, thinking about what I was going to do. Why had she gone this far? And how had she forged my name? It didn't make sense. But then, around midnight, I heard something. Footsteps. Someone was watching me. I grabbed my flashlight, ran to the creek, and saw a shadow darting away. I chased after it, Rusty right on my heels, and we tore through the woods. I caught up with them by the old well, where the mud never dried. They slipped, and I grabbed their arm. They shoved me so hard I fell, but when I got up, they were gone. But they dropped something, a black glove, a folded piece of paper. It was damp, but readable. The paper had a diagram of my property with a red X on the exact spot where the sugar pine had been, and the margin said, "Removed by 410 target clears for development." Development? What the hell did that mean? I spent the next day at the county records office, digging through old files. And that's when I found it. A zoning request approved just a week ago, right when the tree came down. And guess whose name was on it? Karen Mulrin. But not just her. Clearwell Holdings, LLC. A company that owned land right near mine. I was starting to piece things together. Karen wasn't just some HOA president. She was part of a bigger scheme. She wanted my land, and she'd do whatever it took to get it. I called up my buddy Marcus, who ran a real estate office. "You know anything about this Clearwell Holdings?" I asked him. "They've been buying up land east of here. Expanding. Building luxury cabins and eco-retreats," he told me. "What's it to you?" I told him about the tree, the forging, the receipt. He looked at me for a long time before he said, "She's using her position to get people to sell. That's what's going on." The next few days, things kept escalating. The fire, my broken window, and then I got a call. The sheriff told me they found a body in the creek. It was Miguel Alvarez, the land assessor who'd been snooping around. He'd disappeared a week ago, right before the tree was chopped down. Now it was clear, Karen was behind all of it. I met up with Jenna, my old friend from high school, who was a lawyer now. She took my case without hesitation. We gathered the evidence, and Jenna filed motions to stop Karen and her shady company from moving forward. But it didn't end there. Things got even worse. Jenna's office got broken into. Papers torn up, windows smashed, and a message spray-painted on her wall. "This doesn't concern you." The fight wasn't just about land anymore. It was about Sir VY Val. I called on the neighbors, showed them everything, and we got together to form a plan. We organized a vote to dissolve the HOA. And guess what? Karen lost. Unanimously. The HOA was gone. But that was just the beginning. We set a trap for Karen, knowing she couldn't resist the control she craved. We made a fake deal with a conservation trust to preserve the land. When she came back, we had her. And just like that, Karen was arrested after a high-speed chase. The jig was up. Now, I sit here with Rusty, looking at the spot where the sugar pine used to stand. I planted a bench there in its place, simple, sturdy, and true, with a plaque that says, "In memory of Granddad's sugar pine, 1904 to 2024. Things have settled down now. The land is mine again. The HOA is gone. The community is stronger. We're rebuilding. No more fines, no more fear. But there's a lesson here. When someone tries to cut you down, you don't just fall, you grow back stronger. And I'm not done growing yet." What about you? Do you think Karen got what she deserved? Or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about what happens when greed and power go too far.